Hi YouTube. Sorry for my appearance. I'm getting ready to go to the gym, so I kind of look like I'm getting ready to go to bed, but I'm actually getting ready to work out. But before I do that, I felt really led to share a video. We've had a very interesting and tough week as a nation. There has been so many things going on, some things that have been unjustified and unfair, in my opinion. So first we had somebody get killed on a train that was just trying to go home from work and not doing anything or provoking anyone, and she was very young, and that really struck a chord with me. I felt very heartbroken that happened to her because, you know, again, she's a life. She's important to somebody. She had a boyfriend. She had family that loved her and wanted her home that night, and she didn't make it. And it baffles me that our justice system is so messed up that they allowed somebody that is a prior offender to be on the streets and be able to execute some kind of a plan like that. And that was just gut-wrenching. You know, obviously that didn't happen this week. It happened some time ago, and I didn't know about it until my mom shared it with me, because personally I try to stay out of mainstream news, because the media, the social media, is bad enough and it's evil enough, in my opinion, and it spews rhetoric all the time for both sides, both Democrat and Republican. And I don't get into politics a whole lot because, you know, it causes a lot of strong emotions for people, and I don't like to get into arguments, and I don't like to have to sit and defend the way I feel about something. I've been bullied as a child when I was in school, and, you know, that affects me a lot. So it makes me, you know, not speak up when I probably should, and not stand my ground on stuff when I should. And I'm trying to work on being better about that. The reason for me posting this on YouTube without the ability for anyone to comment is because I'm about to talk about the elephant in the room, the thing that happened this past week with Charlie Kirk. And I know that there's extreme feelings on both sides of the coin with this, and I just don't want to cause any more division or upheaval about it. But where I stand on it is this: I feel like no one should have to die for their views, their opinions, what they stand for. Death is not the answer. Violence is not the answer. This man did nothing but use his words to reach people, and he invited people that disagreed with him to have the floor and to speak. And what happened was heinous and uncalled for and did not need to happen. I saw the video, the actual video, the unedited video of what happened to him, and I couldn't believe it. I was at work at the time that this report started, and my mom, I think, knew about it before I did. And I started seeing stuff on social media, some rumblings that had happened. And mind you, I didn't know who Charlie was. I didn't know much about him until maybe the last 6 or so months. I had started to slowly discover him on Instagram and my algorithms, because I had people on my following list that followed him, and it showed up when I would scroll through Reels. And I just eventually started to follow him, and, you know, I didn't know that was his name. I didn't have his name memorized when I saw the reports until I saw his face in the report online of what happened to him. And I was shocked. After I found out online what had happened, my mom then sends me the video, the unedited video of what happened. And it was a video from somebody that was standing really close to where he was. And they got a pretty gruesome view of things. And, you know, I can't imagine. I was affected by just seeing that video. I can't imagine those that were actually there. My heart goes out to you if you were actually there and you're trying to recover from this, because it's a very traumatic event to see something like that happen. you know, and if you're a person that wants to cheer this on and make a joke out of it and post stupid TikTok videos and be ugly about this, you may as well unsubscribe from my channel right now, because there's no place for that on my channel. We don't celebrate people's deaths, because at the end of the day, regardless of where you stand, you didn't have to agree with everything the man said. You didn't have to love him. You didn't have to be his fan. At the end of the day, he didn't deserve to get executed publicly in front of people. And 2 babies lost their dad that day, and a wife lost her soulmate. Now, imagine if that was your partner, your soulmate, you know, and you watched that happen to them. You wouldn't want that, you know. If you had kids, you wouldn't want them to lose a parent, you know, if you were together as a family unit. If you think that that was funny, or he had it coming, or he deserved it, you really need to have a heart check. You really need to examine your soul and figure out why you cheer on the peril and demise of other people. Because it's just not okay. We as human beings have to be united regardless of where we stand. That no one should die for how they feel or what they believe. You know, me personally, if someone I knew was up in public speaking and they had, you know, things that I didn't agree with, like, you know, I personally did not, this is my personal opinion, I didn't agree completely with everything that our last president said or did. I didn't particularly like those people that were in office. However, I did not ever wish wicked things on them like what just happened to Charlie. It's the same difference. You know, you don't ever wish someone get killed for what they have done or said. You just don't do that. It is not the answer. In fact, if anything, it divides us even more as a nation. In a way, what happened has also awakened those of us that are patriots and stand for freedom and the things that he stood for. It awakens us and makes us braver. Like right now, this has taken me a lot of courage just to publish this and share my thoughts and how I see the situation. And it's taken me a few days, because at first I was really angry when I saw what happened. And then my anger turned into pure sadness, because this man was not very much older than me. He was actually younger than me by like 3 months. And he just felt like a brother. It felt like I lost a brother. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it still feels like a loss, you know. And it's sad. And it wouldn't matter who it was. It would still feel like a loss to those that cared about that person. And that's why I say that it's so wrong to think that it's justified or right when someone passes away or gets murdered in cold blood. And you have to be a special kind of heartless to do this to young children. And, you know, it's already been said on the news that this person that has been accused of doing this is getting charged with doing this in front of children. And that right there proves that people were there, that his family was most likely there. And I just can't imagine or fathom what went on in people's heads as they saw that. And just seeing the video affected me poorly enough. And I just think this world just needs more kindness. We need to be more kind to each other. We need to do like what he did and invite people that don't agree with us to have difficult conversations. You know, I'm personally not of the belief that I'm going to force my views and my opinions down your throats. I don't get political. I don't get religious. I do stand on my faith. I have a strong faith in God, and I do think that I should be more bold about that, just like everybody else is bold in how they believe and what they believe in. And that, to my point, means we're all entitled to our own opinions, and we should be allowed to have them. But the one thing we should never do is cheer on something like this, or be excited or happy, or do any stupid videos about it. This man didn't deserve what happened to him. The girl on the train didn't deserve what happened to her. There are so many things that are going on in this world that are evil and violent, and we have to be united on the fact that people still matter, their lives still matter, and they shouldn't be taken away, and it shouldn't be mocked or celebrated when they are. I do feel like what happened is symbolic of what I believe in, the Bible. When Jesus dies for our sins, it was kind of symbolic of, in a way, what happened in the Bible when they witnessed that. And there were also people that mocked and cheered, and there were also a lot of mourners like there are now. And I think it's God's way of waking us up and telling us that, you cannot remain on the fence. You're either with the world or you're with him. And I don't want to go down with the world. I want to go with him, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to be with him. And I lead with love. I don't hate anybody. I'm not posting this to hate anyone. I don't, even if I disagree with you, I still love you as a person. I'm not saying any of this to spread any hate or cause division. There are no comments allowed on this, just because I don't want to start any volatile arguments with either me or anyone watching that may have something to say. I just don't think that it should be said. I don't think there should be any comments left, just because we don't need that. We all know where we stand. And my only thing is, if you're somebody that thinks he deserved it and want to celebrate it and think that it's okay to celebrate people's demises and things that happen to them, you need to just unsubscribe from me, because I don't believe in that. I don't support that. I think that is very wrong, and you should really get some help if that's what you think that is okay. Like, I've seen some pretty abhorrent things online that have been said and done since this happened, and it's just completely wrong. It's to do that. You should, at the very least, be sad at the fact that 2 kids didn't need to lose their dad, and a wife didn't need to lose her husband. And we're not saying that you had to completely agree with him again, but you still should not agree in the fact that he passed away. You shouldn't think that that's okay. And those are my thoughts. I am of the belief that it wasn't okay. I think it was very unfair. I think there was still more that could have been learned from him and debated with, and I think that we still could have gotten a little bit further. I also believe that our colleges could do better in raising our youth and not forcing their ideologies down people's throats and letting them think for themselves, because I think a lot of people these days are adopting what a professor might have said or done, instead of thinking for themselves and having their own opinions and views about things. And to me, that's highly toxic, and I think it's what got us here in the first place. And the media also is going to tell you what you want to hear. It's going to tell you things that make it seem believable, even though it's not. I will tell you guys that, and they do this with everybody, it's not just with Charlie. They have taken so many videos and so many things that he has said out of context, and they've cut that up. They've also taken only part of his quotes and said that he is not empathetic, he's a misogynist, he's a bigot, because they've only taken bits and pieces. You can't possibly learn everything about a person by only watching a minute-long clip or a 30-second reel. You have to do your own research and look at the bigger picture before you just all of a sudden label someone something, and it's dangerous. And it doesn't matter where you stand on the spectrum. And I'm guilty of this too. We're all guilty of mislabeling people and putting names on them and saying they're this or they're that based on just a brief few seconds of someone or something that they said. And that's highly toxic, and that's what also further divides this nation when we do stuff like that and we don't do our own research. And if you believe in something, you should have solid reasons to back up why you believe what you believe. You can't just say you believe something and then don't have a reason why. You're just following the crowd. You really should be able to think for yourself and have your own opinions and be your own person. And like I said, I'm not posting this to judge anybody or spread any hate. I don't hate anyone. You stand where you stand and I stand where I stand. My only number one thing is you do not celebrate someone's death. You do not think that that's okay. And if you do, I don't want to be around you and I don't want to be affiliated with you, because it's not right. It's not the right thing to have. It's not the right heart to have about something. It's okay to passionately disagree and not be for something or someone, but never to think that violence is the way to go with that. And those are just my thoughts for tonight. I just thought I would share this because it's been on my heart for a while. You know, my heart tonight is aching for the family that has no dad anymore, and the mom that has to explain to her 3-year-old where her dad is, and she can't understand where he is, and she can't fathom it in her little mind. And it just makes me sad. It breaks my heart because I have a heart for things like that. In fact, the love story that they share with each other is something that I aspire to have. And I'm hoping in this dumpster fire generation, I get it one of these days. I don't know if I mentioned in my last video, I was talking to somebody, I think. I don't know if I said I was or not because I wasn't sure about sharing it. Well, my gut instinct was right, and I'm glad I didn't share about it if I didn't. Because I ended up telling him off and blocking him because I know patterns, I know behaviors, and I'm not going to stand for people who treat me less than what I deserve. I'm going to walk away from it, and I'm proud of myself because I took a stand. I took what happened this week, and I became bold in defending myself, what I want, who I am, and I think more people need to do that and be more open and honest about who they are and what they want out of life, because you get a lot further when you do that, you know. And I'm no longer going to be silent and be a doormat for people to just walk all over or think that they can put me in the corner while they go explore 3, 4, 5, 6 other options. In my opinion, if you're already doing that, then you're just too afraid to tell me that I'm not the one, and you'd rather just keep me in limbo in case it doesn't work out with girl number 26, you know. That's this generation for you. And then, you know, I'm also kind of perusing some of the apps, and I'm still finding dumpster fires that are trying to like me, like absolute dumpster fires. And a lot of them are guys that I would be disowned if I brought them home. And it's just scary to me, but it's also laughable at the same time, because some of these people that like me on these apps are so, like, not somebody I would go for. Not even remotely. They're not even worth a conversation because they're so toxic with what they either share, or you can obviously tell that they don't take care of themselves, so that they don't bathe, they have greasy hair, you know. And that's, to me, that's leery, and I don't like that. I want someone that can take care of themselves, you know, and know how to use soap and water. You know, that's just the basics there. I'm not trying to be mean, but, you know. Anyway, I'm not posting this to spread any hate or cause any political arguments. I'm not here to get into politics. I'm just saying that my heart hurts for a family tonight that does not have their provider, their leader, and, you know, I'm broken over it. And I'm broken over the state of this nation and how everyone's true colors have come out. And I think we're in a spiritual battle. I don't think it's left versus right. I think it's good versus evil. And we have to decide what we're going to stand for. You know, we can't remain on the fence the rest of our lives because it doesn't get you anywhere. So those are my thoughts for tonight. I hope you all have a great evening and a great rest of your week. Yeah, so, you know, I'm not posting this to offend anyone or cause anyone to be angry or mad. I'm just sharing my thoughts, my point of view. We're all entitled of a point of view. Just make sure it doesn't hurt other people and it's not celebrating something that really shouldn't be celebrated. So I will talk to you guys soon, and I'll record more videos soon as I have them. For now, this is me signing off after sharing some thoughts about what's been going on. So I will post soon.